Hello, Karachi. How's everyone doing today? Good? So, what is a mother? A mother is somebody who raises a child, gives birth to a child, and allows that child to live in our society, challenges, fears. A lot of wisdom goes into raising a child. I am merely fulfilling the basic meaning of this particular term. Many of us are mothers sitting in the audience. Last year, I gave birth to my second child, a baby girl, whose birth was supposed to be a celebration for my entire family. We were really looking forward to this birth because she was coming in after my son and 2 miscarriages. She was already very precious to me. When I was 6 months pregnant, I had walked into a grocery store. And over there, I had noticed a woman, a mom, walk in. She walked in with 3 children. One of them, the eldest, was a boy with Down syndrome. In my emotional state, I shed a tear, and I couldn't control myself. And I thought, oh my God, look at this woman, She's so courageous. She's walking in, strutting in there, and she has a child who has a lot of challenges facing him in this society, our society, a less accepting society. At 37 weeks of my pregnancy, I was rushed in for an emergency ultrasound. The sonologist couldn't tell what was wrong with my baby. I had spent 6 months in complete awe and harmony, and I was looking forward to this baby girl coming into my life, and all of a sudden, the sonologist raised an alarm. We can't see the face of your baby. I didn't know what to say. What do you mean you can't see the face of my baby? So, my baby had swelling around the face, which at that point in time, I couldn't come to terms with. She had hydrocephalus, water around the brain, and she had a hyperextended neck, which means that her neck was completely extended to one part, to her right side. I had gone numb. There was a lot of noise in my head. My parents, both my father and my mother, said to me, "Do not worry, we'll get through this." I was wheeled into an emergency C-section from there at the Aga Khan University Hospital, one of the only hospitals in Karachi who deal with high-risk births. And upon the baby being removed from my uterus, I heard this loud cry, this baby crying in the labor room. And I thought to myself, oh my God, thank God. I was relieved. She's out, she's crying, she's kicking, she's breathing. I was thanking God. The nurse, however, came to me and asked me, "Madam, would you like to see your baby?" And I said to her, I was completely drugged, and I said to her, "Is she crazy? Obviously, I want to see my baby." So she brought to me this pink bundle of joy, and again, I kept thanking God. The worst is over. We are over this. There's no big deal. I'm going to go take my baby home, and everything's going to be okay. Then things started setting into motion. I was wheeled in once again into the recovery room. Over there, the baby was brought to me this time, but not given to me. She was unwrapped, and that is when the reality kicked in. My baby girl, my beautiful baby girl, was born without fingers. No fingers. She had fused toes, and she had a really odd-shaped head. I remember looking at the staff and asking them with my eyes, "Is that all?" I couldn't think anything. There was too much of emotion. I remember tears just dropping down and thinking, oh my God, what is going to happen now? My husband and Shail and I were completely broken. My family seemed a lot more affected than I was. There was silence, there was a flood of tears. Everybody was just completely blank. When the doctors came up to us and told us that our baby had Apert Syndrome, I had no idea what the doctors were talking about. A syndrome? I'm not even related. I'm not even related remotely to my husband. What do you mean she has a syndrome? This syndrome, a very rare syndrome, 1 in 2 million births. A syndrome caused by genetic mutation. A syndrome which allows the bones to fuse prematurely so that the skull cannot grow normally. And in relation, the brain is not allowed to grow normally. This syndrome has a lot of variations, but the congenital anomalies that my daughter was born with included all 3 of them. So she was born without fingers, she was born with fused toes, and she was born with a cranial disorder. The hospital had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. It was a lot of numbness that was taking place and kicking in. But who was going to take my child through this? I remember my mother telling me at that point, she was crying, but she said to me, "You have to be your baby's strength. You have to be her best advocate, her voice, because there's nobody in the world who will do that for your baby." And from that point on, I realized that I had to shed the self-pity. The real emotions, I had to discard them and put them aside. I couldn't do that. If I kept self-pitying myself, how would I help my baby? There was going to be no other help coming in. So I decided that I'm going to put on this armor of strength because my family was already my backbone and supporting me cluelessly and full of emotion. But we decided to take this journey. They decided to take this journey with my baby. I named my baby girl Aaliya, my Apert rose. Aaliya, meaning the most noble one. I had decided that Aaliya is my normal. I had decided that Aaliya was our family's normal. But if you think about it, what is normal? Normal is really a state of mind, a state of being. It is a word that we use to offer explanations to the society, to the world, to everybody who's out there. We don't need to offer explanations to anybody. Nobody from the outside is going to come and help my baby. Nobody from the outside is going to come and help your baby. You are the only person who can help your child. And that is why we reached to the new conclusion of what normal was. So I ask you, what is your normal? Because for us, Aaliya was our normal. Before I could start and think about how and what and when and who with the baby, I was badgered with a lot of statements and reactions and, "Oh my God, how are you going to do this? You must be broken. Are you feeling completely like in shock?" Obviously I'm in shock, but you don't go and reiterate it to the person or to the mother who's kind of like trying to, come out of it. But I kind of put up this list over here it was kind of humorous. A lot of moms who might be sitting here said to me, "Oh, this is your golden ticket to heaven, and the doors of heaven have been opened for you." A lot of moms said, and elders said, just leave it up all to God. And I would think, are you mental? Yes, I pray to God. I have very strong beliefs and faith, but if I were to leave it all up to God, God would ask me, "Why I have given you a brain. I have made you a strong enough person so that you may go out and help your child. That is when I knew that not only am I educating myself, I have to continuously educate the people around me. I was rude. I was abrupt. A lot of times, people thought I was losing it a little bit because while taking care of my baby, I would start educating them and saying, no, I'm sorry. I don't need your self-pity and I don't need you to condole me. There's no condolence. I am in a beautiful place. It's just a little different from the place that I had envisioned that my family would be. But it is a beautiful place, nevertheless. That is when I asked my husband, Ashel. I said, Ashel, I know how I'm going to welcome my baby girl into this world. I know I am absolutely proud about the fact that she is from me. How do you want to welcome her into this world? And he turned around and said to me, we shall tell it like it is. There will be no hiding. There will be no other statements to be made. She is our child, and we will raise her. That became my backbone, and that became my support. During this time, we realized that the pediatric services in Karachi were a little scattered. We had to kind of look out and create our own system. We were rushing and carting my newborn baby from doctors to physiotherapists to surgeons to everybody and anybody who could tell me what and how and what can I just do for my child? How can I help her? How can I take her out of, is she paining? Is she, I don't know, are her hands paining? Are her feet paining? The child can't talk. There was no way of determining anything. So we took it upon ourselves and we kind of became ourself doctors. And I started reading manuals and I said, okay, so I'm going to educate myself. And I would walk into Aga Khan as if I was an MD myself. But what it did for me is I knew how I could navigate through the chaos, how I could come successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, most of the time successfully, to some solution of how we as a family could help my child. So my daughter was 7 days old, and we went to an orthopedic surgeon, a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. And after waiting for several hours to see him, he turned around. He didn't even look at the baby. He looked at her file and said to me, why did you not abort this child in your 6th month? Yes, exactly. I had the same reaction. Although, for me, the baby was already on the examination table. So I turned to him and I said, sir, had I known, I would have really given that a thought. But at this point in time, the baby is on your examination table. So how can you help me? What can you do? He kind of gave me a straight face and said, please take her home, give her a lot of love. I wanted to smack his face, but what we took home from that was harsh reality, lack of compassion, and the fact that I alone had to be my child's voice. I had to teach her how to live in this harsh world, be proud, be functional, and be strong of the way she had been sculpted. Harry Winston had said, people will stare. Make it worth their while. I took that upon myself, and I started training my baby. And I would constantly take her out in public, and I would make sure that the people staring, their stares would be worth Aaliya's while, because she is like any other girl. any other girl. In this chaos and madness, we learned a lot of things, how to deal with her, how to care for her. I started networking with a lot of groups in the United States and in England, a lot of support groups, because in our city, we lack communication, we lack compassion, we lack support groups, and we lack awareness. So I took it upon myself to start, educating and making people aware of my child's existence. So at 10 months, I decided to take her to a plastic surgeon and say, okay, what can we do now? And he told me, everything looks kind of crunched up, and I don't know how far you can go with this girl. Just take her back home and give her a lot of love. That was it. It was like the fourth surgeon telling me to give my child a lot of love. I will give her a lot of love. Thank you very much. What is it that you could do medically for me that I already not know from the books? That is when I decided that Aaliya was not ready for this. She was destined to be somewhere else. And as destiny was to take her, we found Dr. Fearon, this amazing doctor in Dallas, Texas, who actually put Apert Syndrome on the map of the world. There, we were taken in to his custody, and he told us, we will try and give the best we can to your daughter. That is 10 fingers. It did not matter to me whether my daughter was born with 1 finger, 2 finger, no finger. I just wanted to make her functional, be able to do the basic things that we all do in this very room. We've never thanked God that He's given us 10 fingers. We never even think about that fact. But I and my family were thinking about that fact. How is she going to do what is she going to do? Not, oh my God, iski shaadi kaise hogi? So we tread that path and we started doing her surgeries. It was a very difficult time. It was a very difficult time. But I want to tell all the mothers over here that if you do not experience this pain, and if you do not raise your own voice for your child, you will never know what your child is capable of. And that I did not know at that point when my daughter went through her set of surgeries, one by one by one. Her surgeries took her to the immediate result of having 9 fingers. We lost one on the way, but who cares? It was my baby's strength, my baby's warrior will, and her spirit that kept us going. Because had she not entered each one of that surgeries with a smiling face, I would have been broken. Because our hearts were broken. I mean, that goes beyond to say. But this little girl shined through everything. She told us and navigated us that you can do it because I can do it. When the doctor came out and said that, okay, she has 9 fingers, her cranial volt remodeling of the head has been done, she has tubes in her ears so she can hear properly, and we've kind of put tiny stitches on her eyes so that she can see properly. There's not too much of exposure to light and air. We said, okay, we're done with 7 surgeries, and here we are, 15 months later, wow, she has 9 fingers. At 15 months, we came back to Pakistan. And at this point, we knew what we were going back to. The same stares, the same glares, the same whispers. We knew what we were entering. Stella Young had said, we are more disabled by the society we live in than by our bodies. My whole mission was to make my daughter proud. Aaliya is my attitude, and I wear her every day. Today, she's 20 months old. Yes, she's 20 months old. And she goes to a playgroup. She does all the things an ordinary girl does. But none of this would have been possible without my family's support, their blind faith and trust in me. To all the mothers out there, be proud and be loud. Again, you are your child's only hope. Also, this society, the social taboos, we are above this. My daughter rose above that. She was 20 months old and she rose above that. We all can rise above the social taboos, the social cliches, and the social stigmas. This is no ordinary life, my friends, so rise above. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Rabia, please, if you could also join us. Yes. Enjoy the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic.